welcome again. I'm Josephina, and again with me is Carolyn and Barb and Sondra in the background. This week we'll be covering Middle Eastern belly dance travel steps. So again, let's just reframe our posture. So feet about hip distance apart, but within your hips, so that you're on a nice straight line up and down. So if you have wider hips, your feet will be a little further in. If you have narrow hips, they may be right underneath you. And then we have a nice bend to our knee. All right, and you want to make sure you keep that bend to your knee. And then we do a little zip up from our belly button to between our breasts or our heart center for a nice lifted chest. Relax your shoulders. And we're going to want to have rounded arms. And tonight we'll have a lot of things where our arms are here. And I'm just going to step back a little bit. Where our arms are here, nice and relaxed. So if I move sideways, you can see that there's a curve to my arms. So it's I think I've said this before, if you were to turn your hands this way, it's like you want to give somebody a hug, all right? So nice rounded arms. You'll also see this tonight, and we're putting our hands in that little place where our skull meets the top of our spine. It's a light touch. And we'll switch. Otherwise, mostly our arms will be here. Okay? So, several steps. We'll see how many we can cover in this 15-minute segment. We'll start with something that we touched on when we were doing our shimmies, our hip shimmies, and that is a hip lift to the side. So I'm in my good belly dance posture, and I'm going to lift my hip toward the corner where the ceiling and the wall meet, and bring it in. Just lift, drop, lift, drop. So when I step with it, all I'm doing with my feet is a little sideways walk, okay? So hip lift, and that other foot comes in. Hip lift, hip lift, hip lift. Hip lift, hip lift, hip lift, hip lift. All right, so this is where we start to talk a little bit about Frankenstein feet. And it sounds like something we don't want to do, but we kind of do. So when I'm heading toward you, I'm lifting, and I pretty much stay on the ball. But the other foot slides in flat, all right? So when I do that, looking toward you, just watch my feet for a moment. Lift, 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 lift. This foot is kind of just doing that. Nothing fancy. All right? All the fanciness is in your hips, which is great. That's much more fun to look at. So we're going to put our hands here, and we're going to do hip lift, 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 hip lift. All right? So we did 4 in each direction, and now we're going to do double time for a count of 8. Here we go. Lift, 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 lift. I think that was 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right? So I know my hands go a little bit off camera, but my goal is to keep my hands nice and relaxed. All right? So that's your hip lift. And then we have up-down hips. So how we get to up-down hips is we're in our good belly dance posture. We have a nice bend to our knee, nice bend to our knee. And from this hip bone, we're going to swing over to the other hip bone. All right? So swing, step, and as you step, you lift. All right? So let me do that so it all happens at once. All right? So swing, lift, swing, lift, swing, lift, swing, lift. So I also call these down up hips. So let's do that on the other side. And we're swinging from this hip bone. It's like we're drawing a little smile. Swing, lift, swing, lift, swing, lift, swing, lift. All right. So I'm doing it in place so you can see what I'm doing without going off camera. We can also do this faster. So swing, lift, swing, lift, swing, lift, swing, lift. All right? Swing, lift, swing, lift, swing, lift, swing, lift. And you can even double time that. So for now, practice those two speeds. And then we have another step, pretty standard in belly dance and in other art forms as well. Step touch. So I stepped back a little bit, and the ladies behind me will be going back and forth with it, or standing in place. So how you do your step touch, you're in your good belly dance posture, and you're going to cross this leg in front of the other one, and then step out. Cross, step, cross, step, cross, step. I'm going to do that again. Cross, step, cross, step, cross, step, cross, step. So we're doing all this fancy stuff, but we're traveling in a straight line toward where we're headed. In belly dance, we add a little oomph. So we cross, and then, let me do that. Cross, oomph, cross, oomph, cross, oomph, cross, oomph. So, how you get the oomph is, when you get here, you lift your hip, and you keep it up there until you're ready to take your next step. I'm not pushing with my foot, pushing with my foot, pushing with my foot. Nope. I'm lifting with my hip. So my hip starts, the leg follows. So the energy is here, pulling up my leg and foot, rather than my foot pushing up. Okay? So let's add our little oomph. Step, oomph. Step, oomph. Step, oomph. Step, oomph. Step, oomph. So you're basically adding a hip lift, which you're holding at the top, to your step touch. So you can also go backwards with your step touch. So we'll do 4 forward, step, touch, step, touch, step, oomph, step, oomph, and back, oomph, and back, oomph, and back, oomph, step, oomph, step, oomph, step, oomph. And we can also do this on the balls of our feet. So you want to find that spot where you're lifted and balanced, which means you're on that line that runs through the center of your body that we've talked about. And it's really hard to do this slow, and you have to take much smaller steps. So use your arms to balance you. Step, oomph, 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 step, oomph. Much easier to do this fast, up on the balls of your feet, and step, oomph, 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 step, oomph. Okay, so that is the step touch. And then we have a step ball change, which you also see in other art forms. And I like to call it the flutter step. So arms are here. I'm going to step forward so I have a little more room to travel back. And I'm basically step, 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 ball change, step, ball change. All right? Step, ball change, step, ball change, step, ball change, step, ball change. So I like to call it a stutter step. I think I said flutter earlier. But it looks like you're going to do one thing and then you change your mind. So when you do that, you generally can do it from the side. Your hands are here. And they're angled a little bit up, but not all the way up like this. Just a little bit angled, and you want to tuck your thumbs and back, 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 back. Good. So the other one I wanted to touch on was the pose, backup pose step. So in your pose, you're here, you bring your knee forward, you push it in, arms up. You're going to keep your hips parallel to the floor. You're going to draw a half circle to the back, put your weight on that back foot, and then you're going to lift with your hip from the back over to the front, like you've just drawn an arch. And you're going to squeeze just a little bit in the uppermost part of your inner thigh. And now you're ready to go on the other side, drawing a half circle around, other hip up and over, boom. Half circle to the back, other hip up and over, boom. Half circle to the back, other hip up and over, boom. All right. So we're going to speed that up a little bit. And back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. So we've covered a lot, and I just want to remind you that everything I've covered is to go alongside a class. So practice the segments and bring your questions to class. And we'll go over all these different movements with an accompanying dance segment where we're all using these different dance forms. We might throw in some shimmies and some hand and arms because we've already covered that. And next time, we will cover Arabic walk, which will take probably a segment all to itself. So it's a lot of information, practice, and when you're ready, or even if you're not quite ready, go to the dance segment because you may find that some of this clicks when you're actually doing it to music. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the dance segment. Thank you.